If you would like to be creating a Zoom video conference and scheduling that meeting, take a look at the settings that you need to have in order to have a safe, secure, and efficiently run meeting, especially for educational purposes. Zoom has done some amazing things over the past 2 weeks to make it a safe environment. They've added some security features and also done some locking of certain features so that they can guarantee that you have a safe environment. All right. When you get onto zoom.us, you will create an account as a host. The participants don't need to create an account, but you do because you want all your settings to save and all that kind of stuff. In your profile, it will show your personal meeting ID. You do not want to share that with other people, which is why I'm not clicking on that. Let's go straight to the settings tab on the far left under personal. In this settings tab, this is where you make all of your adjustments so that when you schedule a meeting, these are your defaults for that meeting. So walk through with me and have it up on your screen on a different device, or you can pause and go back and forth. We're going to go down through here. With scheduling a meeting, you want to have host video, start meetings with host video on. This is important because you can then see what your video screen looks like. You can adjust your camera, things like that. You don't have to worry about people being in the meeting because they are all going to be in a waiting room and you'll be signing in first. The participants video, you want this turned on because you don't want to deal with kids and having to tell them to turn their video on. Just make it so it turns on as they enter. Audio type will keep on computer. You do not want to allow participants to join the meeting before the host arrives. They do need to be kept in a waiting room. If they try to join before the meeting has started, it will just tell them that the meeting has not started yet. All right, now going down to these here. Notice require a password. Zoom does make it so you have to have a password now. You can edit that right here if you would like. Okay, I just kept it pretty simple. I do want you to be aware of this next one here. This is a nice feature. If you turn this on, the invitation that you send people, if they click on that invitation link, it will not require the password. That password is embedded in. If you want them to have to type the password all the time, even if it's through the link, you would turn that off. But we're going to leave that on for ease of use. I do want to, especially with kids, I want them muted upon entry. So as soon as they all come in, they will not be able to talk at all. It'll be silent. It'll give you a chance to look at who's on there, make sure they're the correct people, things like that. If they're not, you can boot them out of there. But also it allows you to be the one as the host who kicks off the meeting without all the noise and things like that. Upcoming meeting reminder, this is for you. So on your device, it will pop up a notification that your meeting is about to start and that you should get your butt on there. All right, down here in meeting basics, the chat. For children in an educational setting, I do not want them to be able to chat and see messages. Okay, so I want participants to not be able to chat with each other. I do not want them to be able to privately chat where I can't even see it. So those are going to be turned off, all those chat features. Now you can, just so you know, in the Zoom session, you can have the chat turned on so that they can only send a message to the host and only the host sees it. That may be a feature you want to have available so that they could type a question to you specifically. We're not going to auto-save chats because there are some security issues with videoing and saving things from a Zoom session when it deals with children in their homes. So we're going to have all of those save and record features off. All right, now play sound when participants join or leave. I want that on because we have a waiting room where when someone comes in, they do not instantly join the meeting. We have to accept them in. So I want to hear a little sound that someone is waiting to come in, and then I can allow them to join. All of these settings are going to be turned off. Now let's get down to screen sharing. You want it so that the host is the only one who can share their screen. We do not want all the other students to be able to randomly share their screen. So make sure that's turned on and host only. In the Zoom session, I do not want to allow them to write on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to disable desktop and screen share for users, and I'm also going to make sure that I am not allowing participants to use annotation tools. When I'm sharing my screen, I don't want a kid writing on it, so I'm going to keep that turned off. I don't want kids to be able to share their whiteboard on the screen without me facilitating that, so that is turned off. During screen sharing, the person who is sharing can allow others to control the content. I have this turned on so I can allow them to do that. This is more advanced feature, so you could just turn that off if you want. Okay. All right. On to nonverbal feedback. It allows your participants to have a bunch of icons to say yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down, applause. That nonverbal feedback can be a fun feature, especially when we have everyone muted. All right, now allowing removed participants to rejoin. If I remove someone, then they're just gone. So I want to go ahead and leave that turned off. You will never remove someone. And if you do, it's for a reason, and I don't want them to rejoin. But if you realize that you're accidentally removing people, which would be ridiculous to happen, but it could, then you may want to turn that back on so that someone you accidentally kicked out can get back in. All right, allow participants to rename themselves. I want this turned on because when they're in the waiting room waiting to join, I can send a message in the chat to the waiting room saying, hey, everyone, please type in your actual first name so that I can see who you are. That way it doesn't say like iPad or mom's iPhone, things like that. So I do want that turned on. Now, this is a breakout room feature. This is an advanced feature. You can just turn that off if you don't want to deal with that. If you want to mess with it, it does create little small group rooms for pair shares and things like that. So that's up to you with that. All of these other options are advanced, so I will leave these alone. You may want to take a peek down at this for virtual background. Allow users to replace their background with any selected image. Choose or upload an image in the Zoom desktop application settings. I don't want to allow users to replace their background. I want to keep that controlled, so I'm going to keep that turned off where they can't replace their background. All right, going down through here, I don't have to worry about any of this. The waiting room, I want it to be turned on. Attendees cannot join a meeting until the host admits them. This actually is something that's an automatic on anyway. It's a safety feature for Zoom. Now, when we go down here, I am not going to worry about any email notifications or any of these features down there. So that's all you need to do to adjust the settings. Once you've done that once, you don't need to mess with it again. Those will stay saved, and that'll be your default for every meeting you schedule. At that point, then, I can click schedule an actual meeting up on the top left here, meetings. And when I click meetings, I'm going to click schedule a new meeting. This is where you're actually going to schedule a new one. You never want to just host a meeting automatically. Everything wants to be scheduled so that you can control all the different settings and things like that and get a unique link as well. So this is where you put in the name, description. I'm not going to worry about a template with that. Pick the time, how long. You can choose if it's weekly. I'm just going to create a new one each time so that the meeting ID is different each time. And then a meeting password. This is where I can put in a unique password to just say, oh, my password's going to be 44 today or whatever, something simple if I want. And then I want host video on, participants on. Notice all these settings have transferred over from before, and different things are turned on and turned off based on what I've already done. And then I'm going to save this. And then once I save this, it will allow me to copy this invitation and share that to my families through email, Class Dojo, or whatnot. Okay. All right. And then when I'm ready to start the meeting, you can see start this meeting, edit this meeting, and so on. If you download the Zoom app and log in, this meeting will also already be in your Zoom app as a scheduled meeting. All right. Those are the basics. If you have questions, Google it or reach out. Happy to help.